The smell of brewed coffee and freshly baked pastries filled the small cafe as Anna wiped down the counter for what felt like the 100th time. The sound of clinking dishes and faint chatter echoed around her. But Anna's mind was elsewhere. Her bills were piling up, and tips lately had been scarce. She adjusted her apron and forced a tired smile as a new group of customers entered. Anna had been working double shifts for weeks to make ends meet. As a single mother, she barely had enough time for her young daughter, let alone herself. Every day felt like a marathon, endless hours on her feet, dealing with impatient customers and trying to hide her exhaustion behind a professional demeanor. The afternoon lull had set in, and Anna took a moment to catch her breath. Just one more hour, she thought, glancing at the clock. But then, the familiar ding of the cafe doorbell rang, and she straightened up instinctively. A young man entered, his tall figure and reserved posture catching her attention. Two men followed closely behind, blending into the background with sharp, observant eyes. Something about him seemed familiar, but Anna didn't recognize him immediately. Taking a deep breath, she grabbed her notepad and approached the table. Anna approached the table, notepad in hand, her smile as professional as ever. "Good afternoon. Can I start you off with something to drink?" she asked. The young man looked up, his sharp yet calm features catching her off guard. For a moment, Anna's breath hitched. She recognized him. Barron Trump, the son of the former president, was sitting in her small cafe. Though she'd seen his face on TV and in headlines over the years, he seemed more reserved in person. "A black coffee, please," Barron said, his voice polite but quiet. He glanced at the menu. "And maybe a slice of apple pie." Anna scribbled down the order, trying to steady her nerves. "Of course. Anything else?" He shook his head, offering a faint smile. "That'll be all. Thank you." She nodded and turned back toward the counter, her mind racing. Customers like him didn't walk into places like this. Humble, unassuming, and far from the glitz of high society. Still, she reminded herself, he was just another customer. With a deep breath, she prepared his coffee and pie, unaware that this interaction would change her life. Anna carefully balanced the tray with the coffee and pie as she made her way back to Barron's table. Setting them down gently, she offered her usual polite smile. "Here you go. Let me know if you need anything else." "Thank you," Barron said simply, his tone calm but genuine. He picked up the coffee cup, taking a small sip before turning his gaze toward the window. Anna stepped back, giving him space, but couldn't help noticing how different he seemed from other high-profile guests she had served. There was no arrogance, no air of superiority, just quiet contemplation. He didn't bury himself in a phone or demand constant attention. He sat there, seemingly lost in thought, as if the world outside the window held more interest than anything inside the cafe. As Anna wiped down nearby tables, she found herself glancing his way more often than she intended. Something about his demeanor intrigued her. Perhaps it was the calmness he exuded or the way he seemed to carry an unspoken weight. She quickly shook the thoughts away. Customers were customers, she reminded herself, nothing more. What Anna didn't realize was that Barron had noticed her too, and he was about to leave a gesture she would never forget. As the cafe grew quieter, Barron finished his coffee and apple pie. Anna was busy at the counter, stacking dishes and wiping down surfaces, trying not to think too much about the unusual guest. She glanced over once and noticed him reaching for the receipt. Instead of quickly scribbling his signature, he took his time, leaning over the table as he wrote something more. After a moment, he folded the receipt neatly and tucked it under the coffee cup. Rising from his chair, he adjusted his jacket and walked toward the exit. His security team followed closely behind, their movements smooth and practiced. "Thank you," Barron said softly as he passed Anna near the counter. "You're welcome," Anna replied, her voice steady, though her curiosity was piqued. Once the door chimed and he was gone, she made her way to the table to clear it. Picking up the folded receipt, she felt an odd sense of anticipation. When she opened it, her breath caught. Beneath the tip, a generous sum that made her heart race, was a handwritten note. "Your hard work and kindness don't go unnoticed. Never stop believing in brighter days ahead." Tears welled in Anna's eyes as she reread the words, letting them sink in. Anna stood frozen at the table, the note trembling slightly in her hands. She read it again, slower this time, as though trying to commit every word to memory. The words struck a chord deep within her. Someone had not only seen her struggle, but also acknowledged it with kindness and sincerity. She tucked the receipt into her apron pocket, her mind racing. It wasn't just the money, though the tip was significant. It was the note, the weight of those carefully chosen words. They weren't pitying, they were encouraging. For someone like Barron Trump to take the time to write something so personal, it felt surreal. As the shift went on, Anna couldn't help but feel lighter. Each task seemed a little less daunting, her steps a little steadier. Her coworkers noticed the change in her demeanor. "What's got you smiling today?" one of them asked with a playful nudge. Anna only shook her head and smiled. "Just a good moment," she replied, keeping the note and its meaning close to her heart. What she didn't know was that this small moment of kindness wouldn't stay private for long. By morning, her story would begin to ripple far beyond the walls of the cafe. The next morning, Anna's phone buzzed incessantly on her nightstand. Groaning, she rolled over and squinted at the screen. Dozens of messages flooded her notifications, along with calls from coworkers and friends. Confused, she opened one text that read, "Is this you? You're all over the news." Still half asleep, Anna clicked the attached link. Her eyes widened as she read the headline, "Barron Trump leaves waitress, a heartwarming note and generous tip." Below it was a photo of the receipt, complete with Barron's handwritten message. Anna sat up quickly, her heart pounding. "How did this even get out?" she whispered, scrolling through countless comments and articles. Her coworkers had likely shared the story with someone who had passed it along. Now it was everywhere. The comments ranged from praise to curiosity. "This is the kind of kindness we need in the world. Barron Trump seems like such a thoughtful person. I hope this waitress knows how much she's inspired people." As overwhelming as it was, Anna couldn't ignore the unexpected warmth spreading through her chest. For the first time, her story, her struggles, had reached beyond her small cafe. The world had taken notice, and the kindness of one moment was inspiring countless others. By the time Anna arrived at the cafe for her shift, the atmosphere had shifted. Regular customers greeted her with knowing smiles, some even leaving small notes of encouragement on napkins or tipping more generously than usual. Her coworkers teased her about being a celebrity, but there was genuine pride in their voices. The media attention was overwhelming, but Anna found herself focusing on the core of the story, the kindness she had received and the way it was resonating with so many people. She had started as just another waitress, struggling to make ends meet, and now her story symbolized hope for others. Later that week, Anna received an unexpected call. A local organization supporting single mothers and service workers invited her to speak at a community event. Nervous but determined, Anna agreed. Standing at the podium, she glanced at the small crowd, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I didn't expect my story to reach so many people," she began. "But what it taught me is that small acts of kindness can ripple out and change lives, not just for the person receiving it, but for everyone who hears about it." The room erupted into applause, and for the first time in years, Anna felt not just seen, but valued. And that's the end of our story. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.